The national leader in sports media and production is in Ball State's College of Communication, Information, and Media. SportsLink is developing the next generation of creative storytellers and producers. The best stories in Ball State sports and live productions to ESPN platforms from day one. This is Ball State SportsLink.
Coming up on our final show of the year, meet the Greek graduate student whose power has led men's volleyball to a championship season.
And speaking of power, we'll head out to the Ball Diamond and meet baseball's ace on the mound.
These stories and more this month on SL Stories.
Victory Honda of Muncie is proud to support the student athletes at Ball State and the students in SportsLink. For more info, visit victorymuncie.com.
Every hit, every spike, every goal. Every celebration, every story. From the creative storytellers in Ball State SportsLink, this is SportsLink Stories.
Welcome inside the SportsLink studios here on the campus of Ball State University for this edition of SportsLink Stories presented by Victory Honda of Muncie. I'm Hudson French.
I'm Madison Surface, and Charlie Mao will be joining us later on today. The best stories in Ball State sports all in one show every month from the creative storytellers in SportsLink. Let's get started.
As this is the final show of our academic year, we're poised to say goodbye and good luck to all of our seniors, including gymnast Sandra Elsadek. Her 4 years at Ball State and her journey to get here will certainly be remembered.
Started off doing like the mommy and me classes. And honestly, it was really just because my sister, she's 5 years older than me, but she started it and I wanted to be just like her. So I followed kind of everything that she did and wanted to kind of imitate her.
As a matter of fact, that was one of the biggest reasons Sandra ended up doing gymnastics, because Caitlin her older sister, used to use her. She liked to be the coach, so she used to play along. She used to use Sandra as a student. I love her doing the floor. She's so sassy, like they say. That's just Sandra.
Growing up, it has always switched between bars and floor. I think now I'm kind of leaning towards floor just because it's more fun. You get to kind of put on a show. Bars is fun when it goes my way. When I was 13, I broke the two bones that hold your teeth together, the top and bottom bones, and it was definitely like I didn't think I was gonna come back from it, just because after that had happened, I didn't want to mess with my teeth or mess with hurting them even more. Or I was like, is this gonna be the end? Am I just gonna try a new sport, or is this gonna be something I come back from?
I remember getting the call, and it was the coach, and I hung up on her because I thought, man, it's April Fool's Day. That is the dumbest thing to do to people. So then she called me right back, and she goes, I'm serious. And I'm like, oh my God. She goes, I can't explain to you right now. Just please get in the car. I'll meet you halfway.
I was kind of told to do it rather than had the choice to do it. It's called a cow hop or a hop change. You cast a handstand, and as you're casting the handstand, you flip your grip from an overhand grip to an underhand grip, but on top of the bar. No one was willing to spot me. It was kind of just like, go. So I went, and I completely missed the bar when I went to switch my hands, and I smashed my face onto the bar and then flipped over to my back. And as I'm running to the bathroom, a tooth falls out, which I didn't even know happened until I looked in the mirror. I remember the first thing I said was like, everyone's gonna make fun of me at school, and my coach comes in behind me and she's like, yeah, they probably will.
At that point, I called her dad and I said, listen, meet me at the orthodontics. We're gonna have to do something. And he already had set up the appointment, and we were on our way there. And that it ended up being a 6-hour surgery. She was so little. You know, Maya is still my youngest, obviously, so she was the one that, she was still my baby kind of thing.
I didn't want to be looked at as like the girl that quit because she got hurt. Honestly, like seeing everyone around me so good, I wanted to be as good as them. I wanted to like have potential, and I wanted to hopefully go to a school and compete for them, but I couldn't do that unless I got it together because I was a hot mess. I started getting higher all around, and I was like kind of up placing with all the girls that I had like looked up to. I was, of course, had my coaches, you know, like, all right, Sandra, like I think we should start looking at colleges. And for someone like them to say that to me is like, okay, like I think I can actually do this. If I didn't come back, I would have been scared for the rest of my life.
She accomplished a lot here. I'm very proud of her. We all are. My daughter, her dad as well, so we all are very proud of her.
It is for my parents. As much as I enjoyed doing it, they've invested so much in me, all the money, all the meets, all the time they've taken off work. Like, it really is for them at the end of the day.
It's been so fun having Sandra in here. We wish her the best going forward.
Well, the talk of Ball State sports this year has been first-year head coach Donan Cruz and the men's volleyball team in 2022.
The team won its first outright MEVA regular season championship in 22 years and added to it with an exciting postseason run. For more, we're going to head to Charlie Maurer in our Sports Production Center next door.
Thanks, Hudson. The Ball State men's volleyball team, MEVA tournament champions too, and are returning to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 20 years. A lot of help from the Cardinals this year, but one in particular, all MEVA first team, Angelos Mandilaris, native of Greece. Let's take a look at his story now.
Until I was 8 years old, I lived in Athens, Greece. That's where I started like playing a little bit in my house. When I was really young with my brothers, we would set up some chairs in the middle of the living room, and we had some balloons, and we just like hit them over the net and stuff. My dad, he never like really pushed us to like force us to do anything, but we would always hear stories of him playing. Even when we had time off, we'd go to the beach, and then we'd play sand volleyball together there, and it just felt like it was part of our whole year. Age 15 and a half, 16, I moved to England. First few months, right, it was hard, it was a big adjustment. You can't speak the languages naturally, and you don't have any of your friends and your family around. I had to like think about it, do I really want to be here? And I realized, that what I had was like what many other people would have loved to have.
It was upon him. It was not like because it's kind of a decision if you want to go there.
My brother was always like really into volleyball. Like I feel like since the beginning, we had the chance to play in the same teams. We had played a lot of beach volleyball together. When other people would go to their friends over the summer, I would stay with my brother. We would play beach volleyball together. We would travel together. He went there a year ahead of me. He was telling me stories again. I would watch his games actually. Like I would stay up till like 2 a.m. to watch some of his games. And I was like, oh, that looks really cool. I want to do that.
Angelos was very into the recruitment process, wanting to know as much as he could about Barton.
The NCAA, has a pretty cool system that, you can combine the academics with sports really well.
As far as his playing goes, every match was special. I was just looking back at his stats, and it just kind of makes you laugh sometimes. The numbers he would put up.
Nice hit by Angelos Mandilaris through the block, 15-9.
But if you jump over 50 inches, who cares?
Well, there's some good news for college athletes who had their 2020 seasons canceled. The NCAA has restored a year of eligibility.
Before he arrived to Ball State, he was somebody that everybody had their eye on as far as where he would spend his 5th year.
I'm here. I had a practice for a month. I started having shoulder issues, so I got my MRI. They just had to clean something up in there. But he did mention that sometimes the MRI does not show everything. Most probably that's not going to be the case, right? Like 90% chance it should be like what we saw in the MRI. I remember the doctor coming in, and he was like, we actually had to put that anchor there. I remember I didn't even react. I was like, I knew it was going to happen, right? And sorry. When I think of my best memories in my life, it was always like Most of the time it was, related to volleyball or beach volleyball. So I knew that's the only thing I was thinking is I want to, get out there and play again. At the beginning of June is when I actually picked up a ball again. Beach volleyball, it's there's only 2 people in the court instead of 6. The connection between the 2 players is really important because, if you're mad at one person, you can't just ignore it and focus on the other 4, right? You have to deal with it. Since we were brothers, we were very comfortable with each other. I got the opportunity to represent Greece in some underage tournaments, across the world. And when the final tournament came up, I was ready. I was locked in. I mean, I had nothing to lose, right? Because I didn't win any of the previous tournaments. I came out of the surgery 8 months before that. I could barely hit the ball a month before that. So I was just happy to be there.
Γελάκης Μούχλιας. Κι άλλο μπλοκ από τον Μαντιλάρη. Δεν υπάρχει αμφισβήτηση, είναι οι πρωταθλητές. Κυρίες και κύριοι, Άγγελος Μαντιλάρης και Ιάσονας Κανέλος είναι οι άνθρωποι.
I posted some pictures after and some people were like, I haven't seen that happy in 3 years. What's going on? It was just, I was smiling like crazy.
In beach volleyball, there's so much more skills that are related to the game that I think you see in Angelos as far as how he attacks the ball.
Good save by Insulaco. Mandilaris again catches the floor. See, there's 7 kills already for Angelos.
A lot of us have been waiting a long time to be in this position. Felt like as soon as we entered the court, we knew it. We wanted this year to be a special year for us. Ball State, it means a lot to me because I went through a really tough part of my life when I was here. It was exactly what I needed, I think. It was exactly what I needed to become a professional, both in a work environment and both in the court, I think.
First appearance for the Cardinals in the championship since 2009. Purdue Fort Wayne comes in 6-8 in conference, but again misleading because of how well they've been playing lately. If you want to go to the NCAA tournament, you've got to win 3 sets. ...2002 was the last time that Ball State won this tournament. Last time Ball State appeared in the NCAA tournament. You can just tell by the environment, they are dying to hear their name called.
I have never heard it this loud. This is the loudest and most fun that I've seen in an arena. Both teams have been playing high energy volleyball, and this is all the making of a championship match.
Isaacson, there's Janice. You knew it was coming. Isaacson attacking. Angelos Mandilaris, maybe the secret weapon for Ball State this season. Middle, Egaret ball. Everyone was sucked up. Champion in his first year as the head coach for the Ball State Cardinals. Ball State victorious. They are the champions, and they're going dancing.
How you feeling, bro? I feel amazing. I feel like a champion. Yes, we are a champion. We are a champion.
Congrats to the Ball State men's volleyball team on an historic season. Over on the diamond, though, left-handed junior Tyler Schweitzer has been dominating on the mound this year for the Ball State Cardinals.
Winning the state championship was amazing.
Knew I'd be coming in to close it, and getting the final out or coming into the dugout was incredible.
I grew up a lefty, and so my dad really trained me into being a rare lefty as I am. I really got tired of the other sports. Baseball was one I really became passionate about, so I just stuck with it. Because of my small size I was growing up from freshman all the way up to senior year, I had to really adjust and find different ways to succeed in baseball. Size doesn't necessarily matter in baseball as long as you have some finesse as a pitcher at least. Finding more finesse with my pitches made me succeed more going throughout my high school career. I gained a lot of velo my junior and senior year, so those helped me become the pitcher I am today and the success that came from it. I didn't have many offers going into senior year. I didn't think there was going to be another big opportunity like this one, so I took the chance with this team. My mentality was not as good as it is now. I would get frustrated, and then the ball, I would just kind of lose all composure with myself.
I'm really high on Tyler Schweitzer. I believe in him. I think he's got stuff. I think he can be a draft pick. He's a gritty, competitive, left-handed pitcher who's fearless. I think the maturing of him as a competitor, I think, gives him a chance to be really special.
Coach's belief in me was a big help. Not having the opportunity to get another chance would be really devastating, but he kept giving me chances.
Electric stuff out of the pen. He was a leverage guy, so if the house was on fire, he'd come in and put the fire out. Now we're asking him to increase his role a little bit as a starter.
He is, well, right there you see those numbers, impressive. 4-2 with a 2.78 ERA, but the walk to strikeout ratio is more than impressive.
He's been a dominant pitcher throughout the MAC this season, averages over 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. He has such great command.
I gained a lot of confidence over the past year on getting hitters out. Just gaining more college experience was just a big uplifting feeling. My biggest motivation is just not letting coach down, not wanting to fail, I guess, is the biggest factor in that. I've never wanted to fail, obviously no one does, but having the success I did and trying to bring it into a new role with a new philosophy, I guess, to pitching is just the biggest factor.
Southeastern just won the 4A Baseball State Championship.
Started off so strong and he finishes strong. He goes the distance, and the Cardinals will take their second straight win.
Ball State baseball has used the number 68 as motivation all year after being left out of the 2021-67 team NCAA baseball championships. Schweitzer and the Cardinals hope to start their postseason run May 25th as the MAC tournament starts.
And staying at the Diamond, softball's Remington Ross has started her first season with the Cardinals after transferring. The sophomore from Carr, Colorado carries an Ivory tradition with her every day.
Family has always been a big thing for me, and especially for my little sister, and I've always been pretty much a dad's girl. I grew up in a really small town in the northern part of Colorado, population maybe even less than 100. Drove 30 minutes in for high school that was no more than 250 kids, and just kind of grew up in a ranching community, big families into hunting. kind of just doing everything for the family in a small town. Had a blessing to run track for 3 years, and then I got some good times, and just it's always fun to run as fast as you can against the best competition in the state.
She has the intangible of the speed, and she's probably one of the fastest players that I've had the privilege of coaching.
I was a state champion 6 times, and I have the Colorado 100-meter state record. I started playing softball in 6th grade. Up until that point, I played flag football, and then my mom wouldn't let me go into tackle football in 7th grade, so I was like, let's try this game of softball. My high school actually didn't have softball. I was the only girl in the entire school that played softball, so I had to drive to the next town over. Went to Cal State Fullerton, that's kind of near the Anaheim area. I just thought of how cool it would be to go to a Division I university and then also kind of get a new way of life in California. But I soon found out that maybe the big city, almost LA living wasn't for me, so that's how I found my home in Muncie. My dad would always tell me stories about him making necklaces or other jewelry with the elk teeth. I think elk are one of, maybe even the only North American animals that have ivory teeth, and so I just knew that I wanted to be like my dad and kind of wear one similar to his. It's one of their buglers, and there's going to be some people that know exactly what it is right from the start, but there's others that think it's either a seashell or a shark tooth. So I actually got to take it out of the elk myself and kind of polish it up and drill a hole through it. I've worn it for 7 years. I've never taken it off, and I wear mine every day. He carries his, and it's like a little special thing between us that I always know that he's by my side. He's always been my biggest supporter. When I would run track, it was kind of like a focus point for me that, when I was getting into my blocks, before setting my hands on the line, I would always grab my tooth, take a deep breath and remember what I'm playing for and who I'm playing for. My little sister's pitching coach, she actually played with Coach Schur, and from my first conversation with Coach Lacey, it's just I knew that this is where I belonged, and just such a sense of community. And it's kind of scary, transferring to a new school, but from the beginning, the girls were just amazing and found a family.
The sky is the limit for that kid, so really excited to see how she steps into her role here.
I always wanted to go to college and find my best friends, and I really have through this team. Family, they mean the world to me. It's been great to see them come to some of the games, and reminds me how much I miss my little sister and how much she means to me. I'm just always trying to do the best to make them proud.
First-year head coach Adrian Wheatley has the Ball State track and field team poised for its highest finish at the MAC meet in several years.
One of those sprinters lighting up the record books is MaQuila Norman, and she isn't letting any injuries hold her back this season.
My name is MaQuila Norman, and I run the 400, 200, and a 4x4. My mom forced me, and I just ended up being good at it, so I just continued to run. And then this one time, my coach threw me in a 400, and I ran a good time. So ever since that, I've just been in a 400.
No one else is out there. It's different than any other sport. You're just in your lane and you're running against the clock. She's really embraced that.
I just like the atmosphere here. When I went on my visit, I really fell in love with just everything around. It was just really nice being here. It felt like a home. With my pelvis, I started struggling with that last year. And it bothers me sometimes, but I have reached a point where I just still need to proceed to run. And I started to do that, and that's what led me to success.
Well, I think the one thing that I've really been impressed with is that she is bought in, and she's been really competitive and really working hard.
I usually just recover. I just feel like injuries with track and running at a high speed that I'm doing, it's always going to be there, so I just do the necessary things I need to do on and off the track. It bothers me sometimes, but I have reached a point where I just still need to proceed to run, and I started to do that, and that's what led me to success.
It's been another outstanding year for the students in SportsLink, the nation's first 4-year academic track in sports media and production. Between our ESPN broadcasts and SportsLink Digital Radio, we've produced over 100 live sporting events. Our social media content has earned over 6 million impressions, and we've stayed true to our core by producing over 175 features on Ball State student athletes, all in 32 weeks this year. We're proud of the work we've done and can't wait to start up again in August.
It's been another good show telling the best stories in Ball State sports this month, but we aren't done just yet.
Before we go, we want to share a trailer of one of the most unbelievable stories of survival and inspiration. Our creatives Faith Denig and Peyton Monell have been working on a new short documentary on football's Trey Utrick.
I can tell by your questions, your hard head.
Squad 91, Engine 93, Rescue 91.
See, you're not very good.
Please, just like, Lord, just like, don't take my brother from me.
And you stood much too long in the rain.
Sorry. Squad 91, you're responding at 2022.
See my brother, sister, mom, dad, and because of me, the pain that I put them in, for the rest of my life, like my family, I'll take a bullet for any one of them.
Reach out to Jesus, he's gonna reach out to you.
You can watch all of Trey's remarkable story on social media at BSU SportsLink on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And with that, our show has come to an end. Wherever you may be watching, online, television, or streaming, we are so thankful you chose to spend your last 30 minutes with us here in SportsLink.
We'll see you this fall for more SO Stories, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
The national leader in sports media and production is in Ball State's College of Communication, Information, and Media. SportsLink is developing the next generation of creative storytellers and producers. The best stories in Ball State sports and live productions to ESPN platforms from day one. This is Ball State SportsLink.